Hi everyone. Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Shows Style and Spirit. I am Ebony and I want to talk about Diddy, rapper Sean Diddy Combs, a media mogul. He has owned media outlets and he is a huge record producer, songwriter even. He will be sentenced tomorrow after being found guilty of prostitution. Just put a P in front of that. You know, YouTube doesn't like us YouTubers saying a lot of certain words. And there are some developments in terms of Diddy's attorneys. They are accusing prosecutors of trying to make their case wanting 11 years off of charges that Diddy beat. And 50 Cent definitely has jokes. Now, before we get into these stories, I ask that you please hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. And everything that I'm saying in this video is alleged and just my opinion. So this is coming from It's On Site. I will get into 50 Cent's letter to the judge last. So let's go ahead and talk about what Diddy's lawyers have to say. So as you know, earlier this week, prosecutors, they requested that the judge for sentencing tomorrow gives Diddy 11 years for being found guilty of prostitution. Now, Diddy's lawyers, they have penned a letter for the judge saying that prosecutors is using evidence that was involved with charges that Diddy beat, including grape. Okay, just take the G off and you know what I mean. So I'm going to get into the caption and then we're going to take a look at some of the parts of Diddy's attorney's letter to the judge. And the headline reads, Diddy's lawyer blasts prosecutors for seeking 11 years in prison. They say the government is using rejected evidence to push a harsh term. File response ahead of his sentencing tomorrow. Okay, so Diddy's legal team is firing back after federal prosecutors asked for an 11-year sentence. In new court filings, his lawyers say the government is going to extreme lengths to justify a draconian punishment, accusing them of bringing up witnesses and evidence that the jury already rejected. They argue that the only conviction on the table is transporting consenting adults across state lines for sex and nothing more. His attorneys say that prosecutors are trying to paint the case like it's a great trial when he was never charged with SA. And then It's On Site poses the question, should the judge consider the allegations that the jury tossed out or only focus on what he was convicted of? Of course, I feel like the judge should only consider what Diddy was found guilty of. But let's go ahead and get into the actual letter. So It's On Site has published just the introduction. And it reads, as we have emphasized many times, the jury has spoken. The government presented its best evidence to 12 citizens to try to prove Sean Combs used threats, force, fraud, and coercion to compel his girlfriends to engage in freak-offs and hotel nights, and it failed. Mr. Combs now stands before the court to be sentenced for much less serious offenses. If fairness, justice, and the U.S. Constitution mean anything, the jury's verdict should be respected. Mr. Combs should be sentenced for what he was convicted of, transporting consenting adults interstate to have sex and nothing more. Instead of accepting the verdict and advocating a reasonable sentence, the government has gone to extreme lengths to try to justify a draconian sentence, particularly for a 55-year-old man. Instead of addressing the conduct for which Mr. Combs was convicted, the government has devoted 161 pages to rehashing evidence rejected by the jury and concocting far-fetched legal arguments to try to jack up the guidelines range to an absurd 360 life level, as if he had been convicted not only of the acquitted charges, but also other uncharged offenses. It labels as victims numerous individuals who had nothing to do with the Mann Act charges, dredging up discredited witnesses like the woman who calls herself Mia, Deontay Nash, Brianna Bungelin, and even Jordan Atkinson. A person whose allegations are so incredible, the government pulled her from its witness list mid trial. And instead of putting forth a reasonable guidelines range or addressing where this case fits within the relevant sentencing data the court directed the parties to provide, the government asked the court to treat it like an SA or grape case that was not and could not have been charged. So, first of all, I'm just amazed. I feel like I think it was around mid July once the case was wrapped up and the jury found Diddy not guilty of most of the charges, only the restitution. That was 2.5 months ago. It's October. It's the fall. We're having an Indian summer, thankfully. And now tomorrow we're going to get the sentencing. Back in July, I remember thinking to myself, oh, wow, we have like 3 months, so we still have a ways. And now it is here. So time definitely flies. I was surprised that prosecutors were asking for 11 years. I don't think that he will get that. He's been in prison. It's been at least since November because I remember thinking to myself, oh, the trial starts in May. That's 6 months from now. So it's October now. So I'm pretty sure he's been in jail at least a year now. So I mean, but I'm not a lawyer, so certainly I can't give an estimation that's based off of any historical data that I've read. I just don't see, like, if prosecutors are asking for 11 years, I don't see the judge finding a way to justify that with him beating most of the charges, unless the prosecutors were able to convince the judge that the restitution is worth 11 years. But is the average pimp getting that when they get caught by the police? I just don't know. So definitely we have to see tomorrow. This week has been wild. October 2025 is off to a wild start. So Diddy could get a wild sentence. Who knows? It could be some sort of wild card thrown out there by the judge. I always felt like the judge definitely did not see it for Diddy, and he tried his best to make things tough for Diddy and his lawyers. So I could see the judge really trying to stick it to him. I feel like he's going to get at least a couple of years. I will be very, very shocked tomorrow if the judge gives Diddy 11 years. I'm pretty sure he'll give him a couple of years, but I actually don't see it being more than 5. And I imagine he'll get credit for time served so far. That's what I think. And then if he does get more than a couple of years, I can definitely see Diddy's attorneys appealing that and probably winning. When it comes to sex crimes, I feel like the world that we live in, from defense attorneys to jurors, they just don't take it seriously. It's like you have to be unalived for people to take what's done wrong to you serious. But if it's sex, people look at it like it's just sex, like they'll get over it. And I just think that's the world that we live in. That's why you have so many predators. That's why you have so many stalkers, so many actual harassers, so many rapists, because they just feel like they can get away with it. But let's get into what 50 Cent had to say. I totally think this was a joke. I do not think that this was like an actual letter that he sent to Diddy's judge and then he decided to copy and paste it onto his social media. I think that he was making a joke when he posted this letter. But here's what 50 Cent had to write. And this is again it's on site. Definitely follow them on Instagram. So 50 Cent wrote, "Dear Judge Subramanian, I have had an ongoing dispute with Puffy for over 20 years. He is very dangerous. Multiple times I have feared for my life. I think you should consider the safety of the general public, Your Honor, before unleashing him upon them. There hasn't been enough time for him to reform or make any adjustments, despite his trying to teach a class in there. As you are already aware, the government has spent the maximum amount of money on deploying federal agencies, which appear to be an army in two locations simultaneously. Later, his son, who's dealing with his own grape allegations, claimed that the feds hit the wrong house. Anyway, Diddy's only going to return to hiring more male sex workers and keeping most of the baby oil away from the general public. And babies need it. My Netflix doc on this scandalous subject is coming soon. He actually had the nerve to say that Diddy kept baby oil from the general public and that the babies need the baby oil. So to me, he's definitely trolling. He did not send this letter to Judge Subramanian. He is just being silly. So the in the comment section, some people are definitely posting laughing emojis. They're cracking up. Some others, I imagine they are strong Diddy supporters. They said that this is not funny. And, folks are like, he's trolling. May I never have a friend like 50 Cent or have an enemy like 50 Cent, I should say. But we all know that 50 Cent has been trolling Diddy for months, ever since Diddy was first charged with all of the allegations from the prostitution to others. And then the surveillance video of him attacking Cassie came out. 50 Cent has been trolling him ever since. So this is nothing out of the ordinary. This is definitely par for the course. But I wanted to share it with you all because I could not believe that he said, and the babies need it. And then, of course, he had to plug his Netflix documentary that he is producing about Diddy. So we'll have to see when that comes out. But he just had to troll. So, like, tomorrow is going to be quite a day. Either Diddy gets the 11 years or he gets much less. When he comes out, no telling what he's going to do. Because I've had thoughts like at some point, Diddy is going to get out of prison. And what does that look like for him? Will he do interviews? Will he talk about people who took the stand? Will he talk about 50 Cent, who's been trolling him for at least a year now? What will his life be like? Or will he not do interviews? Will he try to live as a recluse and just spend time with his children? I imagine, I'm hoping he still owns enough assets where he can live off of that for another 30 years. Or if he has to produce music, do I think Diddy will still find artists that will work with him? Absolutely. From people who just want to be put on so bad to the young ladies that would still find him attractive and would be willing to fuck, for beats. I think that he could still work in the music industry with newer artists who are just trying to get their foot in the door. Some people may still, work with him. I don't know, but, more established singers. But I think it's going to be much younger artists that would. So I just wonder, like, what will that life look like for him once he is out? Because he is going to get out at some point and still hopefully have some more years of life left to live. But what do you think? How do you think the judge will decide for the sentencing tomorrow? Do you think that the judge will give the 11 years or something much less? Do you think that prosecutors are trying to use charges that Diddy beat to try and justify him getting 11 years? And what do you think about 50 Cent's letter to the judge? I thank you all so much for checking out this video. Please hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. I hope that you all had a thriving Thursday. I did. I cannot complain. It was a great day. 80% of the work week is over. We just have one more day left. I'm so thankful and happy. I went to the park right after work, and then I went to the gym after that. I didn't do no weightlifting, so I walked for, 54 minutes at the park, 2.5 miles, 4 laps, and then I went to the gym and walked on the treadmill for another, I think it was like 46 or 50 minutes. And then that was like over 2 miles. And then I closed out on the bike. And then, I ate dinner and I'm a little stuffy, I'm a little congested. And I think it's because in the morning it's like 55 degrees. But like I don't want to put on a coat, so I wear a jean jacket. And I think it's just with the weather, like it's being so cool in the morning, then it's hot by afternoon, and I'm still walking at the park. And I think it's just making me a little cold. And then I don't feel sick though, but I'm just congested. And then also, like, I've been eating dairy. I have. And for me, dairy produces mucus inside of me. And so I think that's definitely playing a role. But yeah, but I still had a great day, and I'm happy that tomorrow's Friday. And we are all going to have a fantastic Friday. And I will talk with you soon. Bye.